Tax the banks, climate. Tax the bank for AIDS, drugs now. Thank you. I'm Briggs Bomba. I work with Africa Action. We are campaigning for universal access to treatment, universal access to prevention services, universal access to support for those who are affected by HIV and AIDS. Because of the speculation by the big banks that we are protesting against today, 100 million people were thrown into poverty, and in Africa we did not see a financial crisis, we saw a social crisis because of the impact of the greed and speculative policies of the big banks that we are protesting against today. And our message here today is that we are not begging, we are not here asking for pity, we are here to demand what we are owed. These big banks created the problem, we demand that they become part of creating the solution. So we are owed, we are demanding that we are fighting over half a penny. If they were to be taxed this half a penny for dollar, we will raise $400 billion. That will go to jobs, that will go to climate, that will go to fighting HIV/AIDS and meeting our goals for universal access. Take the banks, jobs. Take the banks, climate. Take the banks for AIDS, drugs now.
Thank you, Briggs. I'm next going to ask Bhumika from Third World Network to come up and give us just a couple of thoughts on behalf of developing countries around the world who are not invited inside the G20, so many of them, because it's the wealthiest countries that get to decide how the wealth is spent. Bhumika.
Hello, my name is Bhumika. I represent Third World Network. I wanted to say that developing countries too have been innocent bystanders of this financial crisis. Their governments, their countries have suffered because of the actions of Wall Street and the City of London. And the richest countries' governments have the ability to pull their economies, to do fiscal stimulus and public bailouts. But the developing countries don't have the fiscal space. They don't have the economic ability to do the same things that rich countries can do. They too deserve their fair share of the contributions from the rich country banks. Developing countries too deserve to be able to use the financial transactions taxes for their governments. The poorest countries in the world in sub-Saharan Africa are going into a new debt crisis. The gains they've made over the last 10-15 years have been wiped out by this financial crisis. They too deserve a fair share for their debt crises and for their public burdens. Thank you.
And we have one more speaker, Karen Ornstein from Friends of the Earth, who is going to talk about the needs of the planet, not just the people, and certainly not just the bankers.
Thank you so much. Let's start out. Tax the bank for jobs.
Tax the banks for climate. Tax the banks for AIDS, drugs now.
We say profits not before people, but people before profit, and need before greed. Hello, I'm Karen Ornstein. I'm with Friends of the Earth, and we're here as an environmental justice organization that cares about the rights of people and the rights of the planet. And what is the cause of this crisis? It's greed. What is the cause of the climate crisis? It's greed. And the poorest countries are going to be those most impacted by climate change. They are not responsible for this climate crisis. We are here in the United States, and Wall Street is. Wall Street is responsible for this climate crisis. What do we say to Wall Street? Boo! Say! Its fair share of paying for the climate crisis that it caused. We are talking about justice. We are talking about debt that the developed world owes the developing world for developing on the backs of developing countries. Wow, that was hard to understand. Anyhow, we're here to support a financial transaction tax, to tax the bankers, not the people, to generate money to pay for AIDS, drugs, to have jobs in this country and other countries around the world, and to pay for dealing with the climate crisis. The poorest, the most, when it's incredibly unjust. And we're here to ask for a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of justice in a half a penny. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we